Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good Monday. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Welcome to Art School Live. If you are new to Art School Live, I'm obviously not Eric Rhodes. He is still traveling, so I will be hosting the rest of this week, and it's been a pleasure to be able to do this. For those of you who don't know me, I'm 𝗂𝗏. I am the marketing project manager for Streamline Publishing, and I've been here about 12 years, actually more than 12 years now. I am also the manager of the Plein Air Salon Art Competition, as well as the community ambassador for our Pastel Today e-newsletter. And with us today, we have artist 𝗂𝗏, and I actually learned about her through the Plein Air Salon Art Competition, which is not just for plein air paintings, by the way. And her work is phenomenal. She enters all the time, and I just absolutely love seeing her paintings. So without further ado, I am going to bring in 𝗂𝗏. Hi, 𝗂𝗏. How are you?
Hi, Carrie. I'm happy to be here.
I am so happy that you said that you would do this. It made my day.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah,
What
it'll
are
be
you going to
fun.
share with us today?
I am going to paint a cloudy, moody sky. We're going to be loose. We're going to use a lot of paint. We're going to have fun with it.
I'm really excited about that. I have a terrible time painting clouds. They always look very, I don't even know how to describe them. They just don't look like clouds. It's just very weird. So I'm super excited that you're going to be sharing this with us. And let's roll this fun video.
It's Art School Live with Eric Rhodes. Now, here's your host, Eric Rhodes.
𝗂𝗏. Hi, everybody. I hope you are all having a fantastic Monday so far. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night if you're watching from another country and you're watching us at a different time. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have Canadian artist 𝗂𝗏 joining us today. She's going to teach us about painting some moody skyscapes, which I absolutely am super excited for. She's such a phenomenal cloudscape painter. And for those of you who are wondering where Eric is, he is still traveling. This is his last week, so you'll get to see him again next week. So let us welcome 𝗂𝗏. She is going to take over and show us how to paint some clouds.
Thanks, Carrie. Okay, so I have an 11 by 14 canvas here, and I've just stained it with a wash. And I'll just go through my colors really quick. Whenever I finish a painting, I scrape down my palette and save that muddy gray. So I've always got that at the beginning of my painting. I've got ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, cad yellow light, of course, titanium white. And I have some burnt sienna. If we get into the foreground, that'll come in handy. And then I've just sort of pre-mixed some sky colors, some cloud shadow and the blue of the sky. And I'm using a pretty big filbert. I love this brush at the beginning because it holds a lot of paint. And I love laying the paint in thickly. I'm always trying to replicate the spontaneity of plein air. And I find that the more paint that I have on, the more there is to work with. I have more control over the situation.
Yeah.
I find that beginner painters will start thinning stuff out and feathering out like this. And I find that the more paint you have on, you can just work with it more.
Yeah.
So I'm just making some cloud shapes or some sky hole shapes. And of course, once it gets closer to the horizon, it gets lighter and usually warmer. So I'm just introducing a little bit of titanium white and maybe a touch of cad yellow, not too much. I want to stay quite gray and moody with this.
I'm going to pop up your reference image really quick for people who are watching. This is the image that 𝗂𝗏 is going to be working with. It's not going to be exact, but that's roughly what she is going to be working on today.
Right. It's going to evolve as it goes. I often don't start with much of a sketch or a plan.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, I'd like to just watch the painting evolve and just go with it.
So you obviously have spent a lot of time studying clouds then, if you can just kind of jump into it.
Well, I think so. I mean, like everything, it comes with practice, and I just have to fix my earpiece here. Um, and you know, the more you do something, the more acquainted you are with the subject.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm just jumping into a shadow color, which is basically that ugly gray color that I started with, and some alizarin crimson and ultramarine blue, and a touch of yellow, just to knock, because it was starting to get purple. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to knock the purple back slightly. And again, I'm using this filbert. I'm loading it up. And I'm just throwing in this gray. And I'm not really worried about dragging color in and out. I mean, that's how I achieve a lot of atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So
for those of us who are new, like me, I'm a pastelist, so new to using brushes, what's the benefit to using a filbert over a flat? Because I've never used a filbert.
You can use a flat and still get, as long as you're loading your brush up with a lot of paint, it'll still lay on top and be quite thick. But I just love using this natural bristle, because it just, you get interesting marks with
Mm-hmm.
it at first. So generally the way I paint is I make a mess and then I clean it up. So I make a mess. Yeah, I make a mess with the thick paint, and then I come in with a softer synthetic, and I start cleaning it up. So I just, once I have the canvas covered with this thicker paint, I will come in and play housemaid.
And question for you from the chat is, why did you start with a red canvas?
You know what? I just find that having something on the canvas is better than the white. I don't always tone my canvases in the studio, but and also another reason is I find that.
Christine, can you adjust your earpiece again? For some reason, it got all garbly.
Oh, did it? How's that?
Still getting it. There's feedback for some reason.
Oh gosh, I wonder if I should turn it off.
Well, we can try that and then see how we hear you.
Let me turn down my volume and see if that helps. How's that?
No, it's the same. I don't know why. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. For some reason, it's just very robotic when you're talking.
Wow. Okay. I wonder if I can turn it off. How's that, Carrie?
Oh, that's so much better.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with my my highlight, the lightest clouds. So I'm just going to wipe my brush out. I'm not going to really worry about getting it spick and span. I'm just wiping off the excess paint. I'm getting titanium white, a bit of cad yellow light, and a touch of alizarin, just to make it sort of a warm off-white. And careful, those colors will overpower. Now I've gone too pink. And so it's just an off-white, and I'm just going to lay in some white really quite thickly. I forget who said that every painting should be beautiful at all stages. Mine definitely are not.
I have never heard that everything always looks ugly until it's finished.
Right. And I don't think people should put that pressure on themselves to have, you know, have it beautiful at all stages. That's almost impossible. So again, I am to go over top of paint that's already there. I'm laying it in quite thick.
Yeah.
And we'll just make some interesting marks here. And okay. I think I'm ready for cleanup time. Yes.
Where in Canada are you from?
That's right.
No, I said where in Canada?
Oh, where in Canada am I? I'm in Saskatchewan.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, prairies, very flat here. All we have to look at is sky. So that
Sky is my
explains
favorite
everything.
thing.
Okay, now I have loaded up with this middle value, which is some of the same shadow value plus titanium white, cad yellow, and a touch of alizarin. It's a little bit warmer. See, we have to give this form.
Yeah.
So there's our middle. And I've moved to the synthetic flat because I'm trying to lay paint on top. And then this is sort of partly my cleanup stage. I just want to encourage people to paint with no fear. If you start fearing the paint, you start getting finicky and you lose that expression.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and don't be afraid to make changes as you go. Like I think that should be sky in there. And we'll just marry these together. And maybe a cloud in there. How fun.
It looks great. I love how it's coming together. For those who are watching, I am going to put her reference image up for just a moment so you can see this is kind of what she's basing it on. It won't look the same. You know, she's going to kind of go with it as it flows, but I just wanted you to see that this is kind of what she's working from.
Yeah, I don't really want to repeat myself thing over. There's no fun in that. That's what prints are for. Okay, so now I'm going to just grab my palette knife, more paper towel, and I'm just going to start playing. And wiping off the excess on my knife before I adjust again and see with just that little bit of playing around how much atmosphere I've created in here.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if it's your connection. Your voice is garbled again for some reason.
Oh, gosh.
Gotta love technology, right?
Yeah.
It's great until it stops working.
How's that, Carrie?
That is better.
Okay.
So Elizabeth has asked, question 1 is, are you using any medium yet? And 2 is bigger cloud shapes towards the top of the canvas, and why?
Yes. So as the clouds get towards the horizon, of course, they get more horizontal and smaller, more distant and more atmospheric. So your values will be closer together down here. And what was the first question? Medium. No, I'm not using any medium. I did for the wash. Obviously, I used a solvent, but no, I just go straight in with the paint. And
I love the look that you can get with that palette knife.
yeah, and so I just sort of massage things around until I like the way they look, you know, and there's no mistakes. You get the best
Picture is a
effect.
lot easier to do in a medium like oil versus acrylic or gouache where it dries so much faster.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of forgiveness in oil, and a lot of time to play. So I'm just gonna keep keep playing around until I like what I see. And if you've ever painted clouds plein air, you know how fleeting they are. They move around so much.
I've never even attempted to paint. I've only done it a few times, but I've never even attempted the clouds because even just trying to do a landscape when the light is changing so much is challenging.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of artists ask me how to loosen up, and if you go outside and try to paint clouds in real time, you have no choice but to loosen up.
Yes.
Another part of loosening up is the way you hold your brush. You know, you don't want to pinch down on it like a pencil and get your nose to the canvas. You want to hold it back overhand. I'm standing quite a ways back from the painting, and I'm using my whole arm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going back in with some of that sky blue and just creating some more effects in here. And obviously my light, or my focal area, is sort of in this area. So I'm going to spend most of my time there. You'll find if you get your focal area right, the peripheral doesn't matter as much.
Mm-hmm. Very good point. I tend to focus on all of the details of every single thing, and it just makes my painting look awful. So I like that. Just try to focus on the star of your show.
Yeah, and well, you know, and there's some great paintings where everything is in focus. But I find you can get more mood if there's a blurring effect.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, mood can be anything. It can be joy, it can be melancholy. For me, I like a bit of mystery.
Oh, mystery. That's interesting.
Yeah. So mystery in Vanishing Edges. Just
Pesky
something for.
is acting up again.
Oh my gosh.
So how do you create mystery in clouds?
I think a lot of it has to do with creating the atmosphere. So the vanishing edges, nothing is really carved out. It all sort of, everything is sort of connected in a way. There's a soft sensitivity between the elements. Oh, I love that in there. And see, I'm just letting the paint and the tools do the work. I'm not trying to overly control everything. Is my mic working okay, Carrie?
Yes.
Oh, good.
At least for now. Until it decides it doesn't want to again.
I wish I knew how to quickly turn it off, because maybe the audio on my phone is better. Okay. And I feel like I'm just going to scrape this bit out because I don't like it, and you can do that.
Someone commented, in many ways, the palette knife is providing softer edges than a brush. I would agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Have you found that a specific size of palette knife or type of palette knife works better? I ask this because I have seen so many different kinds of palette knives, and I don't know what they're all for.
Well, and I can tell you, if I was addicted to buying an art supply, it would be palette knives. I just love all kinds, and I love experimenting with the different shapes. I mean, I've even used a credit card and a kitchen spatula, just different things to make the marks. I don't think it matters, whatever you are comfortable with. Yeah, just
But are there
play
knives
around.
best for mixing, and then there's certain knives that are best for making a certain effect? Is that how they work, or is it just based on the size of the amount of paint you're working on?
Yeah, so if I'm using a smaller canvas, I tend towards a smaller knife. I love this
Oh,
skinny, narrow one. Too, it gives me a bit more, you know, smoothing out
yeah.
larger areas. Yeah, I don't know. I just use a variety. I
Whatever
just
you're
grab
feeling.
whatever. I don't try to give myself rules. I try to just be free with it. See, I love this little bit right here created by the knife.
Yeah. Someone is asking, how do you create a silver lining effect of clouds?
Oh gosh, I have a good example of that here on my wall.
Is it the one right above the piano?
Yes. Yes, I wish I could show you that.
Well, we can kind of see it.
Okay. I would say make this cloud shadow would come up a whole lot more. And then you have your white outline where the sun is coming through. So, I mean, I could even, let's see if I can do it. Just with the paint that's there. There, throw me a curveball. Let's see if I can make this work. And then.
And I hate to tell you, but your mic is acting up again.
You know what's happening? It keeps falling out of my ear.
Ah.
Is it better now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so when it's falling out of, okay, I've got it figured out now. Okay.
And Elizabeth is asking, do you ever find that you've used a pure white in your clouds or a pure light yellow?
You know what? I try not to, but I do sometimes. I usually save that until the very end where I want that brightest light. But otherwise, I'm using sort of an off-white with a touch of cad yellow and a touch of alizarin. You know what else also works good is Naples yellow with titanium white. It's pretty much. So here's a cloud that's backlit right there. And then if we come in here, we can backlight this. Now I've really deviated from that.
Yeah.
From that reference. Now I'm looking at the painting on
your wall.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's
it's
fun.
great
I mean,
switch like that. That's awesome that you can just change my mind and we're moving in a different direction. You can't do that really with pastel.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then we have to make it the same over here now, or else it won't make sense. Yeah, I would love to come back on and paint a sunset for you.
Oh, sunsets are my favorite.
And then
I love it.
okay, so I would guess that now I've changed where the sun is. I think it's over here. And then we should transition this a little bit. So it's not just an outline. There, that's better.
Wow, I love how that outline on the top right, like, that just makes it pop so much.
Oh, now I'm dancing around. I'm not sure what to do. Okay, yeah, that's sort of how you can create a backlit cloud on the fly.
I love that.
So fun. Yeah, I just want to encourage people to go for it. Use a lot of paint. Just have fun with it.
I think that can be scary sometimes for a newer artist. I know I experienced that this weekend with, painting with gouache. Didn't realize that what I was using wasn't the right amount, that I was gonna run out of it, but then also, you kinda wanna preserve your sources and you don't wanna run out of anything, so I think
Right. I
it
guess
comes with
I guess
time.
the best thing to do is just to experiment and set some smaller canvases aside
Mhm.
and just have no expectations on how it's going to turn out. It doesn't have to be a saleable painting or a masterpiece or anything, and just experiment. And I think you'll find in those happy accidents, you'll find some discoveries.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's ground this. Let's just get a horizon line in here. I am just mixing a kind of desaturated purpley gray color. And I want to go a little bit darker. A great exercise when you're plein air painting is to try to match the color of the object you're painting, like mix up that pile
Mhm.
and put some on your palette knife and then hold it up to the object you're looking at. And you'll find that everything is so much more gray than you think.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't really consider myself much of a colorist. I like to stay gray and tonal.
But in saying that, some of your paintings are just so gorgeous, the color that you do have in them with the sky or sometimes with your sunsets.
Right. They do read quite bright. And I think it's interesting because I do use a lot of gray. I try to desaturate my colors so much that when I go into the light, it really pops.
Yeah.
So when I do go saturated towards the light, it almost glows against all of those grays. And those grays don't read as gray. Um,
Yeah.
but you would be surprised how gray they really are. Switch knives. Carrie?
I'm sorry, what?
How are we for time? I'm just wondering
Oh.
if I should get into the land or.
Yeah, we got about 20, 25 minutes.
Oh my goodness, I'm fast.
You
Anybody
are very
who's taken
fast. I noticed that.
Yeah.
I was like, are we going to fill this time?
Anybody who's taken a workshop with me, they're always like, oh my gosh, you go too fast. I had one person drop out because it was just way too fast for them.
Oh, wow. You want to push your earbud back in?
Yeah.
Anna's asking, do you paint the edges of your canvas?
Yes, well, usually we frame them, but I do still paint them black. Just in case there's some showing through the frame, then it's black and nobody can really see it. But I usually just paint them black. I don't use any colors. Okay. I just have a smaller natural bristle filbert here. And I'm going to just put some land in here so we can cover up this ugly orange color. Another thing I know about myself is that I try not to have too many hard lines. I like when things just sort of merge together, like everything is connected.
Yeah.
Of course, we want to lean this tree line quite blue. I'm just going into the burnt sienna and ultramarine and creating a dark, almost a black, and scrubbing in some trees pretty willy-nilly. And again, I'm using this natural bristle filbert just to make a mess down here, and then I'm going to come in with my synthetic and clean it up again.
And is that because the natural filbert, is it more stiff?
It's stiff and it gets a lot of paint on there for me quickly. And also you get a lot of interesting marks with it. That sometimes I leave and let show. Okay. I find that a lot of, how to paint loose and mark making is all in the tools and just letting the paint do the work.
Yeah, it's very fun. Do you do a lot of plein air painting?
I try to go out at least once a week.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And do you use those as studies, or do you try to get a finished painting from it?
Both. Both. Sometimes they just end up as studies and good practice, and other times I stick it through and actually create a finished painting.
So this style that you're painting right now is exactly what I was trying to do this weekend, and it did not happen. This is great.
Oh, good.
So are you just looking at shapes of like blocks of color, or what are you thinking when you are, making those strokes in the landscape?
I'm thinking design. I'm thinking variety of shapes. I don't want all my soldiers in a row type thing.
Mhm.
Having a sort of.
Oh no! Hold on just 1 second.
Yep.
Oh, we lost you for a second there. Okay, hold on. There we go. We got you back.
Okay. When I paint in the studio, I'm generally using several photos at once and kind of amalgamating them together. And then I pull up my relevant plein air studies. And yeah, it's sort of an amalgamation of all things. So I'm never just strictly following a photo.
Yeah.
And then of course I let happy accidents happen and just go with it. It sort of becomes its own world.
Did you use alizarin for the wash underneath?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. It was probably just some random warm color left over on my palette. I hate wasting paint.
Yeah.
So if I have paint left over, I'll find a way to use it.
Well, that's good. I like being thrifty.
Yeah. Another thing I never do is just put out all my colors on my palette
Mhm.
because I find that I only use 3 or 4 of them in a painting, and then I've just wasted the whole lot. So I only kind of put out what I think I need, and if I need to introduce a color later, I introduce it. But otherwise, I think you find mood that way too in limiting your palette.
Mhm. So what colors are you using to mix in the foreground then?
Cad yellow light, alizarin, some blue. Oh gosh, random gray. I'm quite intuitive with color mixing. So I don't know, I just grab what I need. When I first started painting, I only allowed myself the primaries.
Mhm.
And so you learn a lot about color mixing when you have limited colors to work from.
How did you learn color mixing? Is there a particular method or artist you studied with? I know for me, that's one of the biggest things I struggle with is figuring out how to mix colors.
Right. No, absolutely not. I just practiced. I just kept doing it. And then it just becomes second nature over time.
Yeah.
So I'm quite, well, I guess it's autumn, so we can be in Saskatchewan this time of year. It's a lot of yellow ochre.
Mhm.
I
Yellow
stock
ochre
up
is
on.
I think my favorite color. Here in Colorado, I use it all the time.
It's fabulous. It is great.
You get such nice oranges with it too, and browns, mixing it with burnt sienna, and then I can't remember what other color I was using. I painted a buffalo recently, and the ochre was number 1.
Yes. Yeah, I know. It's a fantastic pigment. Okay. Maybe we'll go back into the sky now.
We've got about 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
10, 15.
Okay.
You paint fast though, so you might be done before then.
Honestly, I would normally work on this for hours. Probably this size, probably 5 or 6 hours.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't want to get too fiddly with it either and lose what I've done. But definitely having a lot of thick paint from the beginning really expedites the whole process, I think.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of massaging things into place. So, of course, my palette is quite messy at this point, and normally I would stop and clean it.
So would you scrape it all off and put it in your gray pile and then start over?
Pretty much, yeah. I would save what I could from it, but let's,
How long do you think it takes for your paintings to dry, a one this size?
It dries to the touch. Oh, this is a lot of paint. It would probably dry to the touch in about 2.5 weeks, maybe a bit longer. And then as long as it's dry to the touch, you can use 𝗤𝗵𝗿𝗀,
What is that?
varnish. And it just kind of lets the oil paint breathe, and it still sort of dries underneath, but it's varnished, and you can ship it off if you want to, or I have this habit of making circles in my clouds, little circular shapes.
Why is that?
I have no idea, but I have to be really careful because sometimes I end up with eyes, and then if there's a shape underneath it, it's a mouth, and sometimes I don't always see it, and it takes a second person to point it out to me. There's my nice, see, I've got circles.
Charlene is asking, what 3 colors do you prefer for a limited palette?
Ooh, that's a good question. My gosh, it varies. Well, for a sky, it would definitely be ultramarine blue, alizarin, and titanium white. Does titanium white count? Because I'd like to put cad
Yeah,
yellow in there.
I think most artists always include a white.
Yeah. Yeah, that shouldn't count as a color.
Yeah.
I would put cad yellow as my third. At some point, you just have to go with the flow of the painting in front of you and let go of any reference.
Mm-hmm. Christine, you are the first artist that has made me want to try oil painting.
Is that right? Oh,
Yeah,
I
well,
love that.
together is amazing.
Oh, I hope you give it a try.
I'm gonna have to because I love clouds. I take pictures of them all the time, and I've never been able to paint them with pastel. So I think maybe I need to try oil.
Well, and clouds are so universal. I mean, they're everywhere you go, and everyone is in awe of clouds all the time. So you just can't go wrong. And if there's any place where you can be free and experiment, it's in the sky, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can say that the cloud didn't look like that, or, the cloud shouldn't be there. Getting too finicky now. Oh, and I see another circular shape developing. Like I almost want to, I'm going to restrain myself from making that a circle. There comes a certain point when you are overpainting, and I think I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least you recognize that, because that's often a question people ask is, how do you know when it's finished? When you realize that you're overworking things.
Yeah, like it's when the brush strokes you're making are not adding to it anymore. It's taking away from what you had going. Do you see how I hardly worked much in here? It
Yes.
doesn't matter as much because I have my
Your
focal here.
point. Yeah.
I'm not really liking how these shapes are really similar in size right now. Let's change that a bit. Okay. I just have another clean flat here. I'm going to work on the foreground in our last few minutes.
So Brian is asking, if you had more time or were, continuing to work on this painting, would you add in any warm, bright highlights anywhere?
I think I would try to find a way to marry this light, well, decide where the sun is, because I started with the sun here and then I sort of made it backlit and moved the sun over here. But anyways, I would try to find a way to bring light into the land that corresponded with my light,
Mm-hmm.
which I think at this point should be down here. And then I would probably darken this, I think, so that our focal area is in here and the light is shining right here. I will post the finished painting on my Instagram. I'll continue to work on it today.
Everybody be sure to follow her. You can see that on the screen at 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗀𝘀. And then she also, her website is 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗀𝑐om. You can find a lot of her artwork there. She has so many amazing paintings.
Thanks, Carrie.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to put that up on the screen really quick too, so people can see 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗀𝑐om. This was such a fabulous demo. Thank you so much again for doing this. This was last minute for Christine. We had an artist cancel last week for today, and I immediately thought of her and was so happy that she agreed to do it. And you guys really lucked out because she is awesome.
Anytime, Carrie. I'd love to come back on and do a sunset for you.
I have already sent a note to Amandine and Christine.
Perfect.
Yep, you will be our first call.
Perfect.
And then for everyone else who is watching, I wanted to let you know that we have a free event this week. I want to find, Amandine isn't with us today, so I'm trying to navigate all of these back-end things myself. We have a Women in Art Roundtable on Wednesday, how to find your authentic voice and grow in your art career. And we are going to have 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 and 𝗂𝗶𝗫𝘁 on that roundtable. That's going to be Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys are available, check that out. It's going to be really awesome. And the website for that, because I realize it's not on the graphic there, is streamlineartevents.com/roundtable. I think it'll be very insightful. We did a similar one last year with a few different ladies, and it was really, really good. So if you're able to come, I encourage you to do that and see us. I will be there hosting that webinar. That'll be a fun time. And as always, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@artschoollive. We also have a Facebook page and an Instagram. So you can go back and watch all of these fabulous demos from all of these wonderful artists that we've been having on the show since COVID started. And, oops, I feel like I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. This just came together so beautifully. That bright blue and that little cloud on the right, the way that the light is coming in from behind that is just stunning.
Oh, good. I'm glad it worked out. It's funny because I practiced that reference photo twice yesterday, and then I totally deviated from it.
Yeah, somebody was asking in the chat, is she working from a photo? I'm like, well, she started to, and now imagination.
That's great, but you know, painting should be fun like that.
Yeah. As you said, and as Bob Ross says, happy accidents.
That's right. Just go with it. No mistakes.
Okay, I'm going to hide that. So one more time, be sure to check out Christine on Instagram at @ChristineCodeFineArt. She is going to post a picture of her painting later for you guys to see, so you can check out how she's kind of finalized it and made her little finishing touches. And also check out her website, 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. I want to thank you guys all so much for joining us today. As I said, Eric is traveling. This is his last week of travel, so you'll get back to him next week. But I am here all week, and I have a great lineup of artists, including Christine. Some I think you'll really like. They're new to you guys, hopefully, that I've been following on Instagram. So I'm excited to bring those to you. And again, thank you, Christine, so much for this beautiful cloudscape. This is awesome. Check us out on YouTube, subscribe so you guys get notified when we are on. And oops, got to bring Christine back in. There we go. Bring her back in. Thank you again, Christine, so much. And
You're welcome.
You guys all have a wonderful week, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Thanks.